So I worked with SYL Fitness to build a belt squat rack attachment. Let's talk about it. In 2025, probably one of the most versatile pieces of equipment that you can have in your gym is a rack. A rack just allows you to do so much in your gym. You can add some attachments to it. They got weight selectors that you can put on there. There's just an endless amount of possibility that's coming out. There's a lot of good companies that are offering new attachments for your racks. One of my favorite that I put on there is the belt squat rack attachment from SYL Fitness. SYL Fitness is a smaller company that provides rack attachments for your rack. They have trolley systems, they have pulleys, they have the lat attachment that you can put on there, and now they have the belt squat rack attachment that we work together to build. Probably one of the most elusive pieces of equipment that you can have in your home gym is a belt squat setup. There's options out there, but they're usually a dedicated piece of equipment, like the Rhino, you have the Squat Max, Bells still has a dedicated belt squat system, but they're very bulky and they take up a lot of space. Now, there are smaller pieces like the Fringe Mammoth that does allow you to use a lever arm setup to be able to attach to your rack to be able to do belt squats. So when I was looking for a belt squat setup, I wanted to do something that was a little bit more permanent than the more traditional home gym setups like the Fringe Mammoth or using a lever arm setup for a belt squat. That wasn't typically what I wanted to do. I had that set up before. It works really good, but I wanted something that was going to be a little bit more permanent in place, something that I can add more weights on and be able to start and stop in a stance position without having to be down in a squatted position to get started. I had this idea because I used SYL Fitness before when I purchased their trolley system and their lat attachment. And I got to thinking, what if I could take their lat attachment and flip it upside down and use it as a belt squat? This is what I came up with. I had them customize a couple of holes in here so I can move the things around. I had it down there and it worked really, really good. When I posted this, SYL Fitness saw this and they absolutely loved the idea. They loved the idea so much that they actually went out of their ways to design an actual belt squat rack attachment. This is what we came up with. SYL Fitness was a really great company to be able to collab with on this project that we worked on together. I like the idea that they had when they designed it. And not only did they design a permanent option, they also designed a removable option. So that way, if you don't want to keep it on your rack all the time, you can simply take it off and move it out the way. One of the great things that they did about the removable is that they did put a tension screw on there. So that way, when you do have it on your rack, I recommended that they have some kind of bolt that can tighten onto your rack. So that way it doesn't move around or wiggle or have any kind of fidgeting. So that way when you're doing your belt squats, it stays nice, tight, and permanent. Now, as you can see on the video, you can see where you can tighten it up the screw against your rack. And now you have a very solid piece of equipment that you can use on your belt squat. The removable option does have UHMW liner on the inside of it. So that way when you put it on, it does protect your rack from being scratched up. One of the great things that they did on that. Now, as far as the permanent option that they have, it does not have the UHMW on there, but if you're worried about your rack getting scratched up or if you wanted to have it on there, one of the good things about SYL Fitness is that you can reach out to them and put in a request for customizations, and they'll let you know if they can do that for you or not. Now, one of the good things about SYL Fitness is that they will customize this to your rack. One of the things that they do request from you is to send you information and specs on your rack so that way they can make sure that this is designed correctly for you. However, you're not just dedicated to the two options that they have on their website. As you can see in this video, this gentleman right here was able to get it customized for his rack so that way he was able to mount it on the bottom of the rack instead of to the side of it. This will allow so much expansion in how this can be designed for your rack and use it directly for you. All you have to do is reach out to them with your idea and they will see if they can customize that for you. Now, one of the things about the belt squat rack attachment is that it can't necessarily be used on its own. It does have to have another piece of equipment to be set up on it so that way it works in conjunction with it. The way that I had designed this idea when I had it in my head is that I used the trolley system in their lat attachment, ran a cable up to the lat attachment, back down to the belt squat, so that way this is now suspended up in the air. Now, what this does is that this allows me to be standing up when I get in position, move the pin out the way, and now I'm able to do my squats in a standing position starting and then finish and still be standing. Now, another positive thing about this belt squat setup is you don't have to just use it for belt squats. You can use it for curls. You can use it for chest supported rows. You can use it for RDLs. You can do it for cable squats. Whatever you have that you think you can use this for, it allows you to have so much versatility to it. Now, for my belt squat setup, I do have a platform that I do use when I do the belt squats because it does allow me to be higher up, allows me to get some nice, good depth into it. And I do have some handles that's not out here right now that I do use for support when I'm going down into the deep squats. So the belt squat does have 3 pulleys on there, and I recommend to put a third one there because I want to have different angles on it, so that way when you're doing certain type of workouts and you don't want to be so far out, you can make adjustments onto the pulleys according to what you're doing. For example, if I'm doing chest supported rows, I want the cable to be a little bit further up, so that way I can get a different angle on the way that I do the rows. If I'm doing curls, I don't have to be all the way out here. I can just stay nice and close to it and just be able to do what I need to with it. So 3 pulleys gives you 3 different angles. Whether it's necessary or not, let's just say it's overstructured. It's made with heavy, thick gauge steel, so this thing is very sturdy, very solid. It's not going to be bending under pressure or anything like that. Now, another good thing is that if you have a cable system like the Rep Aries, you still will be able to use this on there. Now, you can just simply get the permanent one. I believe the pulley will be on the side. You have the trolley for the Rep Aries up here. Run a secondary cable that's coming down to the belt squat, and now you're able to use your Rep Aries weight selector to be able to do the squats. Now, of course, because you do have the trolley system where you can do it in the stance position, you do have to get your first squat set it up in the seated position. However, I do have a solution for that. I am working on it with SYL Fitness to see if that's something that we can utilize. But I am coming up with a solution so that way when you get started, after you finish, you'll still be able to finish and be in that stance position. And when you get started again on your second set, you'll just be able to start in that stance position without having to start in a squatted position. So that's more to come. We'll talk about that later. Now, keep in mind, the belt squat is not a standalone attachment. It does have to be used with other pieces of equipment in order for it to work properly. For my setup, I do have the SYL Fitness Trolley 2.0, and I have the lat attachment. The cable is attached to the trolley, runs up, runs back down, and then goes into the belt squat. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, the reason for that is because this now allows me to be able to stay up in a stance position. I don't have to worry about being squatted down. And so it's a really, really good setup to be able to use that. Now, if you have your own trolley system, or if you have a weight selector system like the Rep Aries, you don't need to have this. This is just how mine work. This is going to be the more ideal solution if you're trying to get a whole setup and you don't have anything to be able to use it. SYL Fitness does have it on their website to show the parts that you would need. They do have some pulley attachments that you can set up. I don't have the pulley in there, but they do sell this, so that way you can just have it right here. You don't have to run it all the way up, and you still have that cable to be able to run back down. They do sell multiple options. That way you don't have to just have a lat attachment. You can get one of their little trolley systems. You can use the bullet pulley system where you can just snap it on, pop it off, and then you're good to go with that way. So just keep in mind, this is not a standalone product. It does require other pieces in order for it to work properly for you. So let's talk about cost. Now, for the belt squat rack attachment, it's going to only set you back $99. That is not expensive at all. And that doesn't mean that's not going to cost you any additional money, because you still have to have the setup in order for it to work. The cost for me is I paid $129 for the trolley system, $89 for the horn, $89 for the lat attachment. So you got 99, 129, 89, and 89. Do the math. Very inexpensive from SYL Fitness to create something that is very versatile for my gym, and hopefully it'll be very versatile for yours as well. My name is Danny with DD Fitness. I hope this review was very insightful for you. I hope you enjoyed the bell squat rack attachment that we designed together. And I hope that you continue to keep pushing forward with your fitness goals. And as I always say, reinvent yourself.